Welcome back, everyone. Oz here. And today I've got some r/AmITheEx for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. I tried to help my girlfriend's estranged brother, and it was a mistake. I don't know what to do now, honestly. My girlfriend and I have been together for a year and a half. I want to marry her. I was planning on proposing to her soon, but I have made a mistake. When we met, I didn't know my girlfriend has a brother that she no longer speaks to. I found out that her brother has had issues with drug use, and the last she knew, he had been homeless and unemployed. This was shocking to me. I would never let any family member, especially a brother, be homeless. In my family, we help each other out, no matter what. It wouldn't matter if someone uses drugs or even if they treat us badly. I was raised to always help your family, your blood, no matter what. It was shocking and appalling to me that my girlfriend didn't feel the same way. This caused arguments early in our relationship. However, I eventually let it go, for now, because I had an idea about helping her brother. 6 months ago, I, 34 male, began looking for my girlfriend's brother. I purposely didn't tell her. She had told me that the last she knew, he was in Canberra. However, he was not there. I had to hire an investigator, and it took nearly 3 months for her brother to be located. I brought him here once he was located and told him I would help. I wanted to show my girlfriend, 31 female, that she was wrong. When I found her brother, I rented him a small flat and found him a job. I had been working extra hours to afford the flat. Although my girlfriend and I shared expenses equally, we have not combined our finances. I was able to rent the flat for him, and I helped him to find employment and set up a bank account for him. I also encouraged to stop using drugs and seek counseling. For his part, he told me he wanted to stop taking drugs and was grateful for me giving him a chance after his family gave up on him. I admit now, it was a mistake. He has been terminated from his job for theft of money and other items, and there's a police investigation. Moreover, he has committed bank fraud using the account I opened for him and has opened a credit card in my name without my knowledge. The ADP is investigating him, using and selling drugs out of the flat, and I'm under investigation because the flat and bank account are both in my name. There was also a potential overdose in the flat. I was advised to hire a solicitor because I will likely be facing criminal charges. I shouldn't be laughing, but god fucking damn. What a deadpan reveal. I was advised to hire a solicitor because I will likely be facing criminal charges even though I had no knowledge of her brother's actions. My girlfriend's brother is nowhere to be found now. My job is in jeopardy, and my girlfriend ended the relationship last week after she found everything out. We were together for 18 months and had lived together for 6 months. I wanted to propose and marry her. I now admit she was right, and I was short-sighted in trying to help her brother. I realize I made a mistake, but she was so angry at me. I know I deserve the anger and should have listened to her about his drug use and criminal record and why no one in her family speaks to him. I don't even care about the other problems as much as her leaving. I didn't know what he was doing. However, I've been pulled into it. I made a mistake, and I realized that my own family's way of always helping, no matter what, is wrong. I don't even know what to do now. Thank you for reading. So, just to recap, girlfriend warns you that her brother has drug use and a criminal record, is homeless and unemployed, and the family has cut ties with him. Because you grew up in a stable environment, you believe that you should help your family no matter what, and set out to try and prove your girlfriend wrong. You guys had arguments about this and you purposely didn't tell her, so I'm left assuming that your goal was to prove her wrong. The thing is, I don't even know if OP was doing this out of the goodness of his heart or if he just really wanted to prove his girlfriend wrong or something. But if he was doing this out of the goodness of his heart, the way that he approached it was not the best way. He should have started by trying to help the brother get clean, potentially some kind of rehab facility. If he was willing to pay for his rent, then he probably should have started with some sort of form of rehab instead. That would have been leaps and bounds more productive than doing what he did. I do feel bad for finding it funny that he's facing criminal charges, but just the way that was rolled into was just incredibly deadpanned and out of nowhere. And I can't help but to laugh at the absurdity of it because he was warned that the brother was bad news. He did all of this behind his girlfriend's back, and ended up with the short side of the stick because he wanted to play White Knight and it didn't go that well for him. Like, I'm glad OP has such a great relationship with his family, but not everyone does. Sometimes those blood connections aren't worth maintaining. And if this channel and the content that we cover has taught me anything, family is who you choose. Blood has nothing to do with it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for kicking my wife out after she punched my mom in the face? My situation went from bad to worse in a matter of a week, and I don't know where else to turn. I need to know if I was wrong, possibly a validation thing, because life is fucking dumb right now. My wife and I have been together for 8 years, and she just gave birth to our first, and last, baby 2 months ago. Up until my wife got pregnant, my mom loved her. I'm not sure what the fuck is wrong with my mom or why this switch happened, but after my wife got pregnant, my mom started being very clingy to me and started avoiding my wife at all costs. Told everyone she wasn't excited about the pregnancy, etc. I threatened to go no contact with her when my wife was about 7 months along, and after that, she snapped out of it, for the most part, and stopped being so ignorant. The comments 100% stopped at least, though she still was clinging to me. Now, a week ago, my mom, my sister's husband, and my sister's daughter, 12, came over for dinner. I prepared the meal. Before my wife could eat anything, our daughter got fussy, so my wife excused herself to go feed the baby and get her down to sleep. I thought I prepared enough, but apparently not, because my niece was still starving. She's 5'5" and 190 pounds. I haven't seen her in a year, and she was not that size then, so I didn't exactly portion in an extra 3 helpings for a child. So it's on me. I don't like you. I apologized and told her that I hadn't made any more and offered her crackers as I was putting my wife's portion in the fridge. After that, I just went outside with my sister's husband to smoke a cigarette and shoot the breeze. Didn't think anything of it. But then, I hear yelling from inside. When I walk in, my wife and my mom were screaming at each other. Apparently, my mom, who saw me put my wife's food away, gave my niece my wife's portion of food. As I was walking inside, I heard my mom say, "Looks like you can afford to skip a meal," and slapped my wife's stomach. Right as soon as I get ready to step in, literally fast walking towards them yelling, "Enough!" my wife winds back and punches my mom square in the face and drops her. The whole house went silent outside of my mom crying and holding her face. I tell everyone to get the fuck out. Immediately, everyone leaves, and my wife just turns towards the counter and leans with her hands on the counter and face down, eyes closed. I look at my wife and say, "You two, leave now." She says, "Really?" She's crying at this point. I say a clipped, "Yup." She packs up her and the baby and leaves. I text her that night and say I just need space. I need to decompress and come to terms with what just happened. She doesn't respond. The next 5 days, I'm texting and calling, and I get nothing. She shows up here today, so 8 days later, and hands me divorce paperwork and my baby and says, "Here, you have a bit to hang out with her while I pack. Where I'm breastfeeding, we can work out a visitation schedule that is either at your place or my mother's until she will take a bottle." I told her that's not what I want. I don't want to separate. I just need to process her punching my mother in the face. She said, "You needing time to process gave me time to process the fact that I refused to be in this situation any longer. I defended myself. I initially felt bad and remorseful, but you making me leave when I needed you made me see more clear. I'm done. I'm sorry for what I did, but there's no fixing this." She refused to speak to me at all the rest of the time that she was here. My house feels so empty, and I don't know what to do. Am I the asshole for making her leave after she punched my mom? I just needed some fucking space. Edit to add, for the record, I am team wife. My mom deserved it wholeheartedly, and I blocked her completely from my life. I literally just needed time to process what happened. My wife is a lot of things, violent is not one of them. So this came completely out of left field and would not have happened without her being provoked. After it all happened, my mom sent me a text saying, "See, I told you she was crazy. That fat bitch doesn't belong in our life." I'm willing to bet she purposely tried to set my wife off, so no. I'm on my wife's side 100%. I truly just needed to process what happened, and my wife took it as me giving up on her, not defending her, and throwing her and our baby out, which did essentially happen because I knew she had to take the baby with her when I kicked her out. Edit to add the reason why. My dad was stupid abusive, I was beat. My sisters and brother were beat. My mom was put in the hospital multiple times. It took years for police to enforce restraining orders, and he finally died in 2013. Violence scares the fuck out of me. I clam up and get anxious around violence of any kind. My wife knows this, and she too grew up with a violent dad, stepdad, and she gets just as anxious and panicky around violence. Her punching my mom in the face triggered an anxious response, and I needed her gone in that moment. I needed it far away from me. I don't know why I didn't just leave. I could have, but in that moment, I just let my emotions and fear run the whole fucking circus and told everyone to get out, her included. My mom did slap her first. I guess for some reason I was seeing my wife's punch as being worse than the slap. It wasn't a hard slap, but my wife did kind of wince, looking back on it now. She was fine following, but my mom was bleeding, split her eyebrow open in good shape. I don't know. Thanks for the responses. I'm the asshole. I'm going to try to go kiss ass now. What a messy situation, just overall. Like, OP screwed up big time here, without a doubt. And OP joined Team Wife just a bit too late, after he kicked his infant and his wife out of the house. He should have left, at a minimum. I feel like that OP should also definitely try to seek out some therapy to help him cope with these situations better so he doesn't end up kicking everyone out of his house when someone might genuinely need him to be there for them. Like his wife, who just got slapped in the stomach and in response punched his mother. Like, she needed him in that moment, and she was kicked to the curb. With OP's history, I don't know what the correct response would have been, because retroactively he definitely should have been seeking out therapy to help prevent that. I don't think anyone would have been able to foresee their mother slapping their wife and their wife punching back. But if that was a problem that he knew he had, where any sight of violence causes him to lock up like that, he should have gotten therapy, because what would have happened if someone else was violent towards his wife? Would his response to be to lock up then? Because I do understand there's some additional complications and history involved with the fact of seeing his mother being hit, much like his father did. But at the same time, his mother instigated. She was being the abuser in this instance, and she got clocked for it. I think the wife is 100% justified with all of her actions, including the divorce papers, because for some people, there is no looking past this. She's not going to be able to see her husband in the same light ever again. His image has been permanently tainted by this interaction. But that's my opinion. I'd be curious to hear what you all have to think of this one. Cross-posted from r/marriage. My wife won't talk to me anymore. My wife, 31 female, and I, 46 male, have been together for 6 years, married for 2. She used to talk to me all the time. She used to share her day with me, just randomly tell me her thoughts, stuff like that. However, she also used to want to talk about problems we were having. A lot. It felt like we were always talking about what I did wrong. She thought I spent too much time talking to exes. We were friends. I don't prioritize her over work. It's my career. Am I supposed to quit? And mostly that I didn't care enough about her. It was so many different ways that she came to that conclusion, but it was like we're just always sitting down for a serious talk. So I told her about a year ago that I didn't want to talk anymore. I was just tired of hearing everything I was doing wrong. I provided everything we need. Can I just have a break? I told her that if she had a problem with the way I did things, then she could get out of my house and we'd get a divorce. She told me that she was trying to communicate because she didn't feel appreciated and that I had one foot out the door. But I think that's ridiculous. I know it's harsh, but I was at my wit's end. I told her I was done and she could get her things out of my house and we'd get a divorce. And she says she feels like I'm one foot out the door, but I think that's ridiculous. Do you hear yourself? So now, a year later, she barely talks to me at all. When I ask about her day, she says, fine. When I talk to her about work politics or my day, she says, oh wow, cool, and kinda walks away. Her attitude isn't bad, she's very sweet, but it's just like she doesn't care anymore. I didn't want to talk about our problems anymore, but I didn't mean to stop talking, period. We really don't talk about anything that doesn't have to do with our life/household. In the evenings, she just turns on the TV and we watch something until bed. Now I don't know what to do, because I found out today that she won a pretty big award at her job, and she didn't tell me. Last Friday, she said she had to work late, and it was cool. I didn't ask. Today, I found out that she was really at a dinner where she was celebrated for this award. She invited some of her friends and her mom and brothers. I ran into her brother at the store today, and he mentioned the dinner and said that he was sorry I couldn't make it. I asked what he meant, and he said the dinner. How I wasn't able to go because I was sick. I asked him to explain the whole thing to me, so now he knows too. What am I supposed to do? Is she punishing me or something? Do I tell her that I know? Why wouldn't she tell me? I didn't think she'd take it this far, and now I'm thinking she's being petty. Does anyone have experience here? I love my wife, and I'd do anything for her, but I'm so confused. Edited because I put the wrong gender. Edit? Wow, a lot of comments. A couple people are asking about the exes. I have close contact with 3 of my exes. My previous wife calls me when she needs to talk. Her and her husband don't get along. I have 2 ex-girlfriends who I'm still friends with, and I was friends with them when I met my wife now. My wife doesn't like them because she says that they cross boundaries, but honest to God, they're just friendly, and we ended in good terms. It's nothing serious, and I just don't want to give my friends up. Edit 2, you were right. Tried to talk to her last night. Didn't go well. I'll update later when I can get my thoughts together. There was never an update. Also, I love it that his previous ex-wife can call him anytime she wants to talk and vent about her problems, but when his wife needs to talk about their problems, no, that's too much. I can only talk to my ex-wife about this kind of stuff, not you. Talking about your problems that you're having in your relationship is key to being in a healthy relationship. It helps keep it healthy and happy. So shutting that avenue down means that 1, your wife can't express her concerns, and 2, now you don't know what your wife is feeling, because it turns out that when you essentially tell her to shut up, she's gonna shut up. And now she's just not involving you in her life and making excuses, so that way, on the exterior, everything seems fine, but on the inside, things are messy and not together. Telling people that you were sick, so that's why you couldn't make it. Not that she just couldn't care less if you were actually there. And on top of all of that, it took you pretty much a year for you to even ask her what's going on. You let your marriage deteriorate in silence for a year before you even considered, maybe I should ask her if something's wrong or not. It took her not inviting you to a dinner party where she was being celebrated for you to even cross your mind that she might be unhappy with something. Wow, dude, you are in trouble. Cross-posted from r/relationship advice. My 32 male fiance, female 32, suddenly doesn't want to marry me anymore because of a disagreement we had a year ago. What now? Hi everyone, I've been with my fiance Lola for almost 7 years now, and we've been engaged for 2 of those years. We have twins together, male and female, 3, and I thought we were happy. About a year ago, we had a small fight/disagreement about how she was raising our kids, but after receiving some feedback from Reddit, I was able to see that I was in the wrong, and I was being incredibly offensive towards my wife. This was on a different account that I lost the info for, but everyone was very helpful, so thanks again. I apologized, and she seemed to accept my apology, and I thought things were back to normal after all of that. She seemed to be her normal self again, and we didn't argue/disagree about that topic anymore. In fact, we hadn't had even a minor disagreement for months after that. I thought we were happy. Well, we were originally planning to get married last year, October of 2023, but she ended up changing her mind and saying she wanted to push back the wedding a bit. I was a bit confused, and she wouldn't really elaborate on why. She just said it was stressful to plan a wedding with toddlers, and she needed some time, so I agreed. Well, she just dropped a bomb on me out of nowhere a few days ago when she randomly stated that she doesn't think she wants to get married anymore. This was hard. Oh, that was my entire fucking microphone. God fucking damn it. That wasn't a good sound. I mean, we're still recording. Are we good? I'll decide if I should cut that in post or not. This was heartbreaking to hear, of course, and I asked that we sit and talk it out. She ended up telling me that she doesn't think we're compatible after 7 years, and that she thinks we should go our own ways and co-parent. I'm devastated. I pressed for more information, like, what made you realize this, and why now? And she basically said that she felt like I didn't really know her, and that I didn't want to know her. I thought this was ridiculous. I know everything about her. I know her favorite color, movie, and song. I know her favorite food. I can read her body language extremely well. I do know her. We've been together for years. She said a few more things, and apparently she's been thinking over our relationship since that fight happened a year ago. She said it was eye-opening for her, and that when I let her see the post and she looked through all the comments, she realized things about me she had swept under the rug for years and blown off as one-time issues. She went on a whole spiel about all the things she had realized about me and how she didn't think we should be together anymore. I don't even know what she means. I think I zoned out for most of her rant because I was so blindsided and hurt by this that I was trying not to break down in tears. I offered to go to couples counseling and individual counseling, but she said it was too late, and that I should have done that / offered that a year ago when this all blew up. I don't even know what to do now, and I think it's a bit unfair for her to put all of that on me. Just because I didn't think of therapy after a minor disagreement a year ago, I'm no longer someone she wants to marry. That's insane. I don't know what to do. How can I get her to give me another chance to see that I still love her and we can make this work? What can I say to make her change her mind? I'm so lost and I don't know what to do. Edit, I think it might be a good idea to link the original post with the details of our disagreement, as some people are asking for the details and accusing me of avoiding the question, so the post can be found here. Let's take a peek. Posted r/AmITheAsshole. Throw away bad manners. Am I the asshole for demanding my fiance stop teaching our kids bad manners? Hi everyone, using a throwaway because I don't want this on my main, but I would like an outside opinion. My fiance, Lola, and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for a little over a year, and we have twins, boy and a girl, 2.5. Our wedding is in 2 months. Oof. Lola usually takes care of feeding the kids in the morning since I work early, and so I never noticed this until recently. I took a week vacation from work to just spend time at home with my kids and Lola, and started to notice something that bothered me. Lola has been teaching our kids bad table manners, and sees nothing wrong with it. They're 2.5, dude. They can't even comprehend manners. I hadn't noticed this before, as they don't eat this type of food for lunch, dinner / snacks, or eat it all the time, so I guess I just missed it, as I wasn't home or she fed them other things on weekends. This morning, I was helping Lola make breakfast, and then I got the kids ready while she brought their food out for them. As they were getting ready to eat, I noticed they didn't have forks / spoons, so I told Lola I would get them, and she said there was no need. I watched instead, and she gave the kids tortillas that she ripped into pieces, and they were using their bare hands to grab the food using the pieces of the tortilla. I see what's going on here. I'll comment on this in a second. I asked her what she was doing, and that she should be giving them utensils, but she seemed shocked that I was concerned, and said that's how they always eat it. I told her that she was teaching them bad manners, and making them think it was okay to just grab food with their hands. She told me they do that anyway when they have chips or grapes or tacos and pizza, and listed a bunch of other snacks and fast food you eat without utensils, but I pointed out that those things are usually made to be eaten quickly or on the road, like fast food, so utensils aren't needed. She said I was being offensive by calling her way of eating gross and saying it was having bad manners, but I do think it's gross to see someone grabbing at food with their bare hands like that. She said she grew up eating like that and would always use tortillas to eat things like eggs, meat, rice, beans, and that it wasn't gross because she always made the kids wash their hands before they ate. I ended up giving my kids forks for them to eat, which they didn't want to use, which made me even more frustrated with her because now they're used to this. Lola has been really annoyed the rest of the day and wouldn't let me help her with lunch, and earlier she was walking around the house speaking to someone, probably her sister, in Spanish. There it is. about me, and I'm starting to feel a bit annoyed. Am I the asshole? Edit. Wow, lots of replies quickly. They seem to be mixed so far, but I will add in that the kids can use utensils and use them with food like soups, pastas, etc. I just fear that allowing them to continue using their hands will make them used to it. We'll get back to the rest of the post just in a moment here, but the moment I heard the eating style, and then on top of the fact that she grew up eating that way, and that she spoke Spanish, it's a cultural thing. So you just called your wife's entire culture bad manners and just outed the fact that that's what you see, is the way that she grew up eating and the way that she's teaching the kids to eat from her culture to be bad manners. And yeah, that's actually really common in multiple cultures, not just Latin American. Hell, Pakistani, Indian, Ethiopian oftentimes will use things like naan bread to scoop up their meats, rice, and other things that they're eating because that's just part of the culture and part of how they eat their cuisine. It's really good. So that makes a lot of sense. OP accidentally showed a little bit of casual racism by calling the way that Lola grew up and her culture to be bad manners. But even like cultures aside, even if they can use utensils, they're two. Toddlers use hands to eat all the time. Also, just before we get back to the updates, I do want to add the little note of him saying, I think I zoned out for most of her rant, especially with the additional context. That's really telling, dude. Back to the edits. Edit, I feel that you all have given me a lot to think about and reflect on. Thank you. I will no longer be replying to comments. Update. I tried to make this a new post, but I couldn't get it to show up, so I think I might be doing something wrong. Hi everyone, this will likely be the last post I make about this situation as everything seems to be final now. This one is made with my ex's permission, and she will read over it beforehand as she thinks I am an unreliable narrator. First of all, we have broken up. She gave me back the ring even though I said she didn't have to, and she could pawn it and keep the money. She didn't want to do that and gave it back to me. I think I will pawn it myself and give her the money since she's moved out of the house. She moved in with her brother and his partner, who is actually able to get her a job where he works, and she's apparently starting next week. We will split our time with the kids, since she said she was able to get shifts that align with my schedule. I have a pretty flexible schedule, and I just prefer to work the same days/times every week. So we will trade off the kids when each of us is at work, and we're going to split the weekends. We're going to get a custody agreement, but we talked about it and agreed to 50-50, and we are both going to be cooperative, as I don't want to stress her out, and I do want to see my kids. I will also be brushing up on Mexican culture so that I am able to participate in things with my children, and I am looking to take some Spanish classes as well, so I can communicate with them in both languages. I showed my wife the last post the day after I made it, and she read it over and read all my comments and a lot of the other comments. She took like 2 days to do this. Afterwards, she said she wanted to talk and asked me if I was serious when I claimed that I thought she wanted to break up because of one fight about the food. I said yes because I was serious and did think that. And she said she couldn't believe me. I asked her to elaborate, and she got very mad and asked me if I was really so oblivious to my own actions. I realized that I probably have been oblivious to my own actions and that I've been selfish, and she kind of blew up and said something and asked me if I needed a fucking list, so I could see all of the shit I've been doing. I told her I would appreciate it if she could. There's a list below. There's a fucking list below. I can see it in my peripheral vision. There's a list below. Oh my god. I told her I would appreciate it if she could communicate some of the issues, and there was no need for a list, but she said that a list would probably lessen the chances of me losing focus while she went on a rant. Ouch. But deserved. We ended up having a long talk about it, and she wanted me... Jesus, dude. I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face during this one. We ended up having a long talk about it, and she wanted me to include this in the post, so I will add it below. Note that these are just things that happened since the fight about the food. When one of her nieces had a quinceañera, I kept calling it a sweet 16. She said she explained to me multiple times that they were different, had different meanings, different cultural significance, and had different practices. She's also not 16, she's 15. Quince, 15. She said I still called it a Sweet 16 when I would talk to people about it or mention it. She said I also embarrassed her at the party because she felt that I was making fun of how her relatives were dancing. Next one. I, to this day, sometimes call her Spanish instead of Hispanic, Latina/Mexican. She said there is a big difference, and me slipping up and forgetting is bullshit. When she was pregnant with the twins, I told her she could give them names that are pronounced in Spanish so that her non-English speaking family could say them easily, and also since they are half Mexican. We agreed that she could, so long as I could choose which names were final. She said that I have not held up my end of the deal, and that when we were at Christmas with her family in December, I obsessively corrected her family members when they pronounced our daughter's name, Elena, and kept saying, Olena. According to her, I did this more than 6 times that night, and she stopped keeping count. Next one. I didn't let her feed our kids some Mexican stew she had made because it looked spicy. I genuinely thought it was. She said she told me she hadn't used spicy peppers. But that night I fed them something else before the soup was done, and she said I disrespected her and her parenting skills. Next one. She feels like she's not allowed to listen to her music/any Spanish music because I will complain or change the song. She said she can only listen to her music when I am not home. Otherwise, I will change it within a few seconds. She said there were other smaller examples, but these are the bigger ones that she had already mentioned/brought up before, and nothing had changed. When I asked her why she stayed with me for so long or why she didn't mention these things more, she said that she's always had low self-esteem and she thought that I was a good person/partner other than these things. So she always talked herself out of a breakup. But she was just over it now. The things she listed off really opened my eyes and made me realize how selfish and unaware I've been. And I know that I need a change. I apologized to her, and I know it won't change her mind, but that's okay. I just want her to know that I do regret my actions. I'm not going to ignore her or gray rock her like some people are suggesting, as I want to remain amicable for our children. I want us to have good communication, as I don't want our kids to grow up with parents who hate each other and can't have a simple conversation. Thank you to everyone who left comments, especially the ones who were harsh. I also want to correct a typo in my last post where I said we were going to get married in October of 2023. It should have read October of 2022. Okay, just overall, yeah, there was a lot more than just casual racism. It just was repeated and happened over and over again until it hit a breaking point. However, I do want to commend OP, even though this was written under the approval of his ex-partner, for being willing to grow. Not just for the sake of, a relationship that's dead, but for the sake of his kids, for the sake of them being able to experience both cultures, for them growing up with even having split parents, a healthy co-parenting environment. I do want to commend OP for taking those steps. He did fuck up and stumble upon the way, and I did laugh at him. It was deserved though, in my opinion, but I do want to give him at least some benefit of the doubt that he will end up growing from his mistakes and learn from them. Sometimes you need a swift kick in the ass for you to actually understand that your mistakes have consequences. And hopefully he did learn. While goofing on his past actions are fun, I do sincerely want to commend OP for wanting to take the steps to grow. Because we are human, we do make fuck-ups, we do trip, we do make mistakes, and he made several, and even ignored his wife's, apparently, several pleas for him to correct his behavior. But he got what he deserved from it. He lost his relationship, and now he's in this position that he's in now. So maybe, just maybe, he'll grow as a person from it. And I wish him the best for that. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup. And you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.